Sharleen Dabreo honored, Premier Smith charts the way forward.
And an exciting recap of Lobster Fest and World AIDS Day to be commemorated. These and more stories when 284 News returns.
Getting ready for Christmas is all about the finishing touches.
The icing on the cake. The table neatly set. Decorations specially placed. And gifts thoughtfully wrapped. All to share with those we love. In special moments as simple as this.
Merry Christmas.
And a Happy New Year.
Colonial, where people come first.
Is business slow? Cash flow down? Hosting an upcoming event? We can help. Advertise with 284 Media and take your business or event to the next level by enhancing your present marketing and messaging strategies. Allow our team of experts to create a personalized ad that sets your business apart from all the rest. This could be your business or event. So, what are you waiting for? Contact our marketing team at 284media@cctbvi.com. Advertising with us works. Welcome everybody. It's Friday, November 30th, 2018. I'm Ron Grant.
And I'm Javon Wilson. Topping our newscast today, Lobster Fest, by the looks, the feels, and the facts, was definitely dubbed a major success. One all residents of the BVI can celebrate in a much-needed time. The event saw hundreds of foodies patrons on the beautiful island of Anegada, most of them lined up in anticipation of sampling a scrumptious bite of lobster over the gyrating sounds of many local bands and DJs, a vibe signature to Lobster Fest. We caught up with Miss Sharon Flax Brutus, director of the BVI Tourist Board, whose team spearheaded the initiative. The BVI Food Fest production was a month-long of culinary events put on by the BVI Tourist Board, and Lobster Fest, hosted in Anegada, was, of course, the creme de la creme event. Congratulations on a well-executed event. Tell us, Ms. Flax, what magnitude of work goes into an event of this nature?
Well, Javon, it's a pleasure to be here speaking to you about BVI Food Fest and the Anegada Lobster Fest. I can tell you it's a lot of work behind the scenes, but for us at the BVI Tourist Board, it was wonderful on the weekend to see everyone smiling, and the fact that we didn't run out of lobster was the creme de la creme of the event.
Indeed. How many restaurants participated? Because what I found was, even though persons were at the Bamboo, they were at various restaurants, what they wanted to do is kind of restaurant hop to ensure they get a scrumptious bite from each little restaurant participating. So tell us about some of the restaurants that were a part of the event.
We had a total of 9 restaurants participating, from the Anegada Beach Club to the Anegada Reef, Flash of Beauty, Correct, you name it. We had the major restaurants and even the small players, including Neptune's Treasure, Wonky Dog. And each restaurant provided samples, so you could have lobster in chocolate sauce, you could have a lobster salad, you could have something hot, something cold. And the idea for Anegada Lobster Fest also is for visitors to explore Anegada. That's why it's not all in one place. So we combine the restaurants, we combine the culinary, we combine the attractions. So there was a lot to do, a lot to see. We even had helicopter rides as well.
It was definitely a holistic, scrumptious experience, and I must say again, congratulations to yourself and team at the BVI Tourist Board.
Yes, most definitely it is a team effort. As we like to say at the Tourist Board, teamwork makes the BVI dream work.
All right, thank you. Of course, Ron and I were there, and while this vegetarian did not get to sample the lobster, Ron surely went in.
Absolutely.
And so did the patrons. Take a look.
The Director of Department of Disaster Management, Ms. Sharleen S. Dabreo, was honored at an investiture ceremony at Government House on November 27, 2018. She was awarded with the Member of the Order of the British Empire badge. The MBE is awarded for significant achievement or outstanding services to the community. A MBE is also awarded for local hands-on service, which stands out as an example to other persons within the community. Governor Jaspert said Ms. Dabreo is well deserving of this honor. She has led the Department of Disaster Management through several outstanding achievements, which are worthy of this recognition. I am thrilled that she is honored for her dedication and work in this way. Dabreo, who is a public officer of the Government of the Virgin Islands, has served the territory for the past 24 years. She has held the post of Director of Disaster Management in the Virgin Islands for over 20 years. Ms. Dabreo continues to carry out exceptional service as well as conduct voluntary service within the wider community. In 2015, her leadership, dedication, experience, and knowledge were instrumental in the Virgin Islands becoming the first territory outside of the United States and Canada to be granted international accreditation for its disaster management program. The accreditation was awarded by the only worldwide accreditation process through Emergency Management Accreditation Program. Most recently, in 2017, Ms. Dabreo's many years of experience in the field of disaster management were put to the test during the passage of Hurricanes Irma and Maria. She ensured that the territory's necessary systems were in place and implemented prior to and after the hurricanes. As a result of her preparation, lives were saved and the DDM remained functional at a different location. In her official response to 284 News on receiving her award, Dabreo had this to say.
I was in shock. It was not something that I was expecting, but I was extremely grateful that I'd even been considered. I took this job many years ago, not for the money or the publicity, but just simply to help people and to get the BVI organized and prepared for what we were seeing worldwide as being some very devastating times. So I was very honored, but it was something that I was not expecting and never really expected that it would be something that I would be looking forward to in my career.
284 News extends its congratulations to Ms. Dabreo on her award.
The RDA plan devised by the NDP government in response to the catastrophic damages incurred by the disasters of 2017 and recently passed in the House of Assembly will continue to be on the forefront of a phase where the BVI is fixated on development and recovery. But prior to the passing of the plan, many were unaware of the projects already embarked on, and 284 News had the opportunity to speak with RDA's Director of Planning, Mr. Neil Smith, on saying, take a look.
So most persons are fixated on the activities that were done post the passing of the RDA plan, but I know a lot of activities would have been embarked on even prior to that. Can you tell us about some of those activities as well as how they were financed?
Okay, prior to the Recovery and Development Plan being passed, the RDA actually did a project that we call it debris collection project.
Okay.
Where we went around the country, actually Tortola, Washington Garden, and Justin Lake, that was done on Antigada, that collected a lot of the big pieces of debris that were lying around. That was funded by the UK.
Okay.
And I think it took about a month to complete. We had contractors from various parts of the territory doing particular sections. So they would carry the bins out, they'll be filled, and then they'll carry them to the waste disposal at Park. So that was the major thing that we did before. A lot of the efforts as well were geared towards getting regulations done, making sure our procedures and stuff within the agency were completed and approved by Cabinet. Because one of the things that the RDA prides itself on, and it will become clear as we go along, is that it needs to be extremely transparent, or fully transparent, right? Everything that we do will be up for scrutiny. The only thing except the procurement practices itself. So there will be certain rules that surround procurement, but the actual work that is done with procurement is like in a black box. Not even individuals within the agency itself could interfere with the procurement process. So we have a procurement unit, and they're basically isolated in what they do from the rest of us.
All right.
So
And I'd
that's
like.
just it. So that's before the RDP, right? After the RDP, or before coming right up to it, and right now that's after the RDP, we have right now about 6 projects that we developing. There's the Ego Shirley Grounds, which we are supposed to have completed at least a track and basic things around it by the end of this year. We have the boats. There are a lot of boats hanging around. We're gonna do that project. That project is probably worth about $6 million. We doing the police barracks in Bojangara, the admin building in Johnson Dyke, and there's also schools. We're trying to get the students out of the tents and into some proper accommodations before we actually build buildings. So the VVI High School, we want to move some students into these temporary accommodations. And there's some additional cleanup that we need to do as well.
All right. On a lighter note, Cabinet would have recently approved salaries for the members of the RDA board. How will that help to better facilitate the process and the responsibilities within the board?
We don't really pay that much attention to salaries. I guess the CEO does, because he has to manage all of that. But the RDA is made up of a group of committed individuals, right? And yes, compensation, obviously we can't work for free, but salaries being approved by cabinet is not, it's been neither here nor there for the individual within the agency. Yes, they're being compensated, but they just getting on with it. They don't really pay much attention to those things. To be frank, that's being frank with you.
All right, well, we want to thank you so much for catching up with 284 News. And of course, you guys are always welcome to share any news information regarding the RDA plan via our 284 forum.
Well, you're always welcome to come and visit. You can not just walk in the office, but like today, just let us know you want to meet or anything you want to know about, we'll let you know.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Earlier this month, Cabinet approved salaries for the members of the RDA board, and while Mr. Smith considered this a plus, he also took the opportunity to remind all that the board consists of a number of individuals with a serious commitment to the development of this territory, a commitment that would have remained resolute, salary or not.
Dr. The Honorable D. Orlando Smith gave a public update on the way forward between now and the next general elections via a radio update. The Premier, in his message, assured the public of his government's mission to continue the mandate set before them. He also took the time to assure residents that despite 3 members of government deciding to join the opposition, his government continues to fulfill the mandate set for it. He also encouraged persons in the community to conduct themselves in a respectable manner as the territory approaches election season. And speaking of election season, Jovan, according to a Government Information Service press release, the general public is hereby informed that continuous voter registration is ongoing, and all persons who are eligible to vote and have reached the age of 18 are encouraged to register to vote. Also, in accordance with Section 17 of the Elections Amendment Act No. 14, 2018, persons who have moved their place of residence and wish to transfer are encouraged to apply for a transfer. Supporting documents as evidence can be in the form of a utility bill, a rent receipt, or a notarized document stating their new address. Registration and transfer forms are available at the Office of the Supervisor Elections, post offices throughout the territory, the district offices on Anegada and Virgin Gorda, and the government office on Jos Van Dyke.
Ron, it's very important that persons take this opportunity to register, even though elections is next year,
Absolutely.
expected by April 16th of 2019. We all speak about the changes that we want to see and often not realize that we are a part of that change.
Just by going to the polls.
Yes, the way going forward is to get registered and vote. All right, up next, we've got Seventh-day Adventist Church standing up against child abuse. And stay tuned for the House of Assembly recap. Stick around, you're watching 284 News.
Brilliant Hands and Minds tutoring services, one-on-one tutorials in math and English, intense homework assistance, academic enrichment, school projects, effective communication and public speaking development, sign language for adults and children on Saturdays only. Registered with the Virgin Islands High School Certificate Program, Brilliant Hands and Minds can help you too. Offering intense curriculum-based training to help you or your loved ones get their high school diploma. It's time to make your family's education a #1 priority. Hurry, space is limited. Brilliant Hands and Minds Learning Center. We are the trained education professionals.
So you're saying I can ask this cat any question?
The cat is connected to the computer. You just type in the question, it will read his mind. There the answer comes.
You're the man! I've been looking for this for weeks.
Welcome back. You're watching 284 News. The House of Assembly met on Tuesday, November 26, 2018, and was off to a very rocky start, with the sitting beginning more than an hour and a half late, as some members, including Premier Smith, attending another ceremony that same morning. When the House finally convened, it began with the Honorable Speaker of the House, Mrs. Ingrid Moses Scatliff, making a visibly frustrating plea to members on their blatant tardiness as it came to House sittings. The Speaker, who was almost at a loss for words, said if we don't respect ourselves as members and take our oath seriously, then this makes no sense. She said it is disrespectful that members do not take their roles seriously. Her emotional plea ended by saying respect is earned. There were some visible changes as well at the fourth sitting of the House of Assembly, as the opposition now has 5 members. They are the main opposition Virgin Islands Party, the Progressive United, and the National Democratic Party 2, now the Progressive Virgin Islands Movement. Deputy Premier and Minister of Natural Resources and Labor, an opposition member, the Honorable Archibald Christian, strolled in well after the House was already in process, while the Honorable Ronnie W. Skelton was a complete no-show at the sitting. Many issues that were to be debated did not get off the ground, as the House was abruptly adjourned after Ministers Foy and Fraser making pleas that the sitting is illegal due to the lack of notice given before the set date. In addition, the post of Deputy Speaker is now vacant.
You know, Ron, this is one of the houses with the highest authorities in the territory, and, rules must be upheld. But, I must say as well, some of this responsibility falls on the Speaker of the House, being that she is the leader of the House. This is her house.
Well, I'm pretty glad that she took the opportunity, and she was very candid and very honest in her plea to the members. She did not hold back, and I think she should be commended for that.
Absolutely, and members as well of the House, they have a role to play, and it's just a great disservice to the House.
To the people of the territory.
And the people as well, if the rules are not upheld.
December 1st, 2018 will mark the 30th anniversary of World AIDS Day, a day in which participants around the world sport a red ribbon to commemorate those living with and those who would have died from HIV and AIDS. This year, with the organizers of World AIDS Day, they want to spread accessibility to testing facilities in harder-to-reach areas and continue spreading education and information about those living with the disease. 284 News caught up with the Chief Nursing Officer, Ms. Jacinth Hannibal, to pull some local statistics, and this is what she had to say.
Currently, we're thinking that we have about 54 persons. However, since the hurricane, we have not been able to touch base with some of them. So we're not sure whether or not they left or if they're still here. We were having an average of about 7 reported cases per year. Since then, we have dropped down. Last year, so far for this year, we have 3 cases. Last year, we only had 4 cases. So our incidence, as far as we know, is decreasing. We do know that some of our patients, I wouldn't say a lot, but there are quite a number of them who were sent on hospital treatment.
UNAIDS reported that in 2017, 20% of people living with HIV in the Caribbean region are age 50 and older, an estimated 62,000 HIV-positive persons being seniors. With this alarming fact, older persons are also encouraged to get tested. With this year's theme being Know Your Status, 284 News encourages all residents of the BVI to get tested, and since early detection, proper care and treatment are key, this can aid in one living a more wholesome and healthier life. Hope is a 4-year-old girl who loved the outdoors and was very outspoken. After spending a day by her uncle, she came home in tears and expressed to her mom that she had been sexually molested by that very uncle. Her mom then reported it to the police. A few years later, Hope is 12 years old and yet again sexually molested, this time by her biological father. The troubled preteen, inspired by her sexual education class, confided in her brother, who reported this to their mom. The mother contacted the police. The father was charged and sentenced to 3 years imprisonment earlier this year. This was just one of the many heart-wrenching stories recapped by Ms. Freeman last Saturday, the social development officer assigned to child abuse cases in the BVI, among the estimated 180 cases reported between 2012 to 2018. 284 News was honored to be invited to the Child Abuse Awareness Walk on November 24th, a groundbreaking initiative organized by Mr. Jacob Adolphus and the 7 Days Adventist community. Mr. Adolphus had this to say.
Men are not the only perpetrators of this crime. Women and children also are perpetrators of child sexual abuse. And 2, it is your right as an individual to report sexual abuse to the relevant authorities to deal with it. As long as you suspect it, report it. And that is your role as an individual in order to prevent or to eradicate child sexual abuse in the Virgin Islands. Children are our future. And when we sexually molest our children or sexually abuse our children, we take away the future. So that is why the youth department of the Seventh Adventist Church, along with the other partnering agencies that attended the march today, join hands so that we firmly stand against child abuse in the Virgin Islands.
Electrifying songs lit up the streets of Tortola from the Elmore Stout High School Band and the Adventist Heartbeats Drum Corps as participants held up bold signs maintaining their stance against this dreadful ill that continues to plague our society. Take a look. Sergeant Kendall Bob, attached to the Family and Juvenile Unit that investigates child abuse cases, estimated 180 reported cases between 2012 and 2018 and urged all members of the public to report every suspected case of child abuse. Mr. Bob further stressed that failure to do so can result in imprisonment of up to 5 years, Ron, and a fine of up to $6,000.
You know, Jovan, it's stories like this that just get me every time, but at the end of the day, all we can do in our community and within our jobs is to try to raise awareness. But it's definitely heart-wrenching, not only to read, but to cover stories like this. So our heart and prayers go out to all the persons affected by child abuse. And we'd also like to take this opportunity to wish the condolences to the families of the bereaved families that lost loved ones this past week, particularly the Western, Harrigan, and Thompson families. You are absolutely in our thoughts and prayers. Up next, we've got regional and international news, as well as Ricky with the Weekend Vibe. Stick around, we'll be right back. You're watching 284 News. HIV/AIDS has taken the lives of over 39 million people worldwide, despite our efforts to prevent, treat, and better understand it. It continues to be one of the most life-threatening health risks worldwide. To date, there are 37 million people living with HIV, and sadly, another 5,000 people become infected with HIV each day. That's more than 200 every hour. In observance of World AIDS Day, CCT takes time to encourage you to know your status and get tested. We join forces in solidarity of all the lives lost by this disease and continue to stand in strength with the many still living with HIV/AIDS today. Get tested, know your status. CCT cares, and so should you. Hungry? Having an afternoon craving? Can't find a parking space? Don't want to deal with the hustle and bustle of road town traffic? Introducing everyone's new food savior, DeliverVI.com. Welcome to food delivery service at your fingertips. We know the feeling of having a hectic day and not wanting to leave the office. So, we're bringing the tastiest island cuisine straight to you. Timely, efficient, and professional services catering to all your lunchtime needs. You can order for one or the entire office. So, what are you waiting for? Get online at delivervi.com. It's lunchtime.
The other provider promises a lot. I heard them say they are fast, but are they really?
How long I gotta wait to get connected?
I tried them already and they let me down. All these ads about networks have me confused.
Who can I really trust?
I use a lot of data.
Who can I depend on?
I'm scared to switch.
What if something goes wrong?
Who can I really trust?
I'm scared to switch.
Yeah. Ooh.
Huh?
Beep beep. Vroom. Ooh, yeah. Oh yeah, baby.
And in regional news, the Bank of Nova Scotia has sold out their banking business in approximately 20 countries, 9 of them being Caribbean countries, as the bank continues to narrow down the number of international markets in which it operates. The CEO, Brian Porter, expressed that exiting these non-core operations is consistent with a strategy that began 5 years ago to sharpen their focus, increase scale in core geographies and businesses, improve earnings quality, and reduce risks to the bank. This was met with public outcry and concern as Antiguan Prime Minister spoke on the sellout, highlighting his disapproval with the process without government's input or agreement. Guyana's government also raised concerns on the loss of jobs and unfair competition. They stressed that the new owner, Republic Bank Limited, which currently owns 35.4% of local banking assets within Guyana, will then increase to 51% with this new acquisition, leading to an over-concentration of banking services and market dominance in a critical time where Guyana is on the verge of an economic boom in the oil and gas industry. Other affected Caribbean countries include St. Martin, Anguilla, Antigua and Barbuda, Dominica, Grenada, St. Kitts and Nevis, St. Lucia, and St. Vincent and the Grenadines.
Jovan, I'm happy to see that the ministers of government in these different islands are speaking up, because this is something that's going to affect their countries in a significant way. This is a huge loss to the Caribbean. And up next, an American self-styled adventurer and Christian missionary has been killed and buried by a tribe of hunter-gatherers on a remote island in the Indian Ocean where he had gone to evangelize. Local law enforcement officials said on Wednesday, John Allen Chaw, 26, was slain on the North Centennial Island, which is home to what is considered the last pre-lithical tribe in the world and typically out of bounds to visitors. The Director General of Police, Pat Thakar, said a number of murder cases has been registered against unknown persons, adding that local fishermen suspected of illegally ferrying Chaw to the 60-square-mile island had been arrested on separate charges. Chaw was killed by a member of the Centennials community using bow and arrows, according to multiple media accounts. Chaw's social media posts identify him as an adventurer and explorer. Responding to a travel blog query about what was on the top of his adventure list, Chaw said going back to the islands in India.
Another island we didn't know about filled with primitive people.
Absolutely.
Isn't that crazy?
Still did not know that that type of behavior exists. It's saddening.
All right, that's it for your regional and your international news. Up next, Ricky is back.
Yes,
He's
he is.
bringing you your entertainment 411. Stick around. You're watching 284 News.
Yo, right now we just getting in our vibes. Yeah, it's the vibes. Hey, blessed love and greetings to all my weekend warriors. It is I, Ricky, with an I, with the weekend vibes. As you know, I was not here last week as I was conducting culinary marketing research in St. Kitts. I will not be sharing the results of my research. However, I will let you know that I had some succulent dishes while I was up here in St. Kitts. Big up man like Rasba and Ital Creations. Yes! Anyway, I will let you know what's up for this weekend. We're kicking off things on Friday. Today is Friday. So we're kicking off things today. And I'm starting over at the Coconut Lounge on the Pier Park with after-work drinks with my peeps and them. You don't know. Chilling with my brethren and them and beating and two guineas and drinks and them things. Yes! And after that, we're heading up to Longbush with the old school versus new school. I'm talking Bounty Killer versus Massacre. I'm talking Lady Saw versus Shensia. I'm talking DJ Wiz and DJ Dre versus DJ Fireblaze, DJ Rookie and DJ Grim at the Vault in Longbush. And you don't know, I repping Wiz and Dre and they all old school massive. No, Saturday is filled with lots of options. So CCT and other businesses are sponsoring a jam for a cause at HLSCC featuring Vibe, Showtime, and ABM. And word on the street is ABM will be dropping the macaroni and cheese. Hey, give me some of that, please. Peanut butter and jelly. I want it in my belly. That's how this song go. Yo, swing sword, big up yourself. And also big up Kira in Anguilla for coming up with that chant. Yes, I. And there's also going to be a DJ competition at Pancake Paradise with $1,000 up for grabs. Yes, so if you're a DJ, you go right over there, you call boss and say, yo, my lad, I want to come in and the DJ something and the spinner toe tune and yeah. And then depending on how good your mix goes and what's not, then you just might be walking away with $1,000 for the night. I think registration is $150. So if you are in the BG area in Virgin Gorda, the Valley Sound Lions Club have their annual Christmas tree lighting, and that event starts at 6:30 p.m. No, the weekend doesn't finish on Saturday. On Sunday, you put on your Sunday best and you take the family up to HLSCC Auditorium and enjoy the Elmore Stouts High School annual Christmas concert. And while we're talking about Christmas, I just want to let everybody know, you know, I don't want a hammer or turkey. No, that's not for me. For Christmas, I just want a Coutinho jersey. Yes, I see the jersey there. I want that there. Yeah. Now, if you want to have your event featured, send an email to marketing@cctbvi.com and let's see how we can add it to the weekend vibes. Once again, this is Ricky with an I. And if you see me on the weekend, it's a vibes. Buy me a drink and let's vibe. Bless up. Yes, I.
That's it for our entertainment roundup and this week's news. Be sure to like us on Facebook at 284 Media and on Instagram and Twitter at 284BVI. I'm Ron Grant.
And I'm Javon Wilson. Be sure to join us again next week as we deliver honest and impartial news right here on 284 News. Happy Friday, everybody.